Welcome to the Downtown, brought to you by Arlington Citizen Media. I am Daryl Smith Jr., and across the internet from me is...
Hi, I'm Rody John, and across the interwebs from me is...
Amy!
On today's show, we talk to former AISD board member John Hibbs, a candidate for Arlington City Council District 6, an at-large position.
We also talk to Ruby Faye Woolridge, also running for Arlington City Council candidate District 6.
And we speak with repeat guest and local musician JJ Fenceroy, who is running for Arlington City Council District 1.
So, Rody, what have you been up to this week? Because you are a resident man about town.
I have visited Tipsy Oak, I have visited Inclusion, I have visited Grounds on Gold, I have visited Legal, I just came back from Union Works, and also I went and voted at the MAC inside UTA.
How long did that take you?
All of 5 minutes. It was no line whatsoever. I also went on a Monday morning, but that could be why.
Haley went. My wife went on Saturday, and at midday, same thing. She said she was in and out. It was totally fine. If you're in Arlington and you need to vote, I think the MAC is the place to go. Because I pass LZ Odom every day. There are people out into the parking lot every day. Yeah. Which is great. Which is good.
Of course. I drive by the South Utilities place, and it is bumping.
Cool.
Safely.
I'm planning to go tomorrow,
and
I don't care how long it takes. I will wait in that line, but I think I'm going to go to the MAC.
There you go.
The MAC is the place to go, not only to vote in this election, but also if you want to get your swole on.
That's true. Get your swole on, get your pump on. It is not the same place that you're thinking from Saved by the Bell. That's a different MAC.
That's the Max.
Exactly. That's why
That's
it's
Max.
Yeah, you can get burgers there.
I wish you could get burgers at the MAC. That would be a one-stop shop. You can vote, you can get your swole on, and you can get some burgers.
Right, get your protein
Well,
afterwards.
you can still get burgers at Max Bar and Grill in Arlington.
There you go. Boom.
They also have wonderful prime rib and shrimp. And these little crab fingers. It's an appetizer. They're so good. Yum.
Crab fingers. You heard it here. Probably not here first, but you heard it here, folks.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
You already know. If you live in Arlington, you know about the crab fingers.
Yeah, you know about crab fingers.
Oh, yeah.
So we're all together on Saturday.
We were.
Because we recorded all of these interviews Saturday.
Right.
And we're going to release them over the next 2 weeks of all these candidates that you can vote for and listen to them in their own words. We also went to our favorite, one of our favorite pizza haunts, Old School.
True story.
Always fun.
Yeah.
And there's a meeting coming up on Wednesday. Maybe we
today when you hear this.
Yeah, today when you hear this.
Today when you hear this, maybe we could put the link up for the Zoom meeting to be part of the city meeting about Arlington Public Media, which is talking about creating a arts council in the city of Arlington.
Yeah, which is, something we've talked about with other people and probably talked about on the show as well. Something the city could benefit from greatly. Putting all the pieces together, I think, is really what it comes down to, because we have all the pieces here in the city already. It's about putting the pieces on the chessboard and moving them appropriately.
Exactly. Check and mate with art.
So I'm really excited for this episode and the ones that are coming up, because this is about it's about our city. These are municipal elections which affect you more greatly than any other elections, I would say. And I hope that all of you go out and vote. Please do.
Yeah. Also, there are initiatives on the ballot. We haven't really spent a lot of time talking about them, but Prop A and Prop A, not confusing at all. There's an Arlington Prop A and an AISD Prop A. Those are super important, research them and make an informed decision, but definitely vote in those elections as well, because that gives you a direct voice on what is happening in your city with your taxes.
Absolutely. And that's what we're about. The city of Arlington.
Exactly.
All right, we are here with John Hibbs. He is running for Arlington City Council District 6. How are you doing?
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me here today. Not a big, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I've never really been able to sit down and do one, so I feel pretty privileged.
Well, glad we could have you here.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you here. We really appreciate it. Our first question is, how long have you lived in Arlington?
I moved, well, first of all, I graduated from TCU in 85. My wife and I moved directly here because she was working at Hill Elementary as a teacher, and I just needed to get on an airplane. So we were just off of Randall Mill in North Arlington in 85. We moved out to the west side of, or the east side of the city, actually in the Grand Prairie area for 3 years, and then we moved right back into Arlington. So we've been living in Arlington since 1990.
Wow, very nice. So what do you love most about the city?
You know what? This is a city that I was able to obviously celebrate 35 years of marriage with my wife.
Congratulations.
I appreciate that. And you know, we have we're able to have 3 great kids, all of them now college educated graduates, all gainfully employed, which is awesome. This city gave so much to our family. I mean, from the very beginning. And, you know, there was a time where I just felt like, hey, listen, I need to give back. So, you know, I was able to go and be, you know, the Booster Club president, the popcorn guy at Miller Elementary. Every Friday I pop popcorn for 800 kids.
Wow.
And received the PTA Lifetime Membership Award, and then I also received the Extended PTA Membership Award.
Prestigious awards.
I think getting that one, I said, I guess that means I give them all my money when I die. So, you know, it was one of those great things. But the school district was in a situation that it needed some leadership, I think, and a lot of people came to me and said, John, why don't you run for the Arlington School Board? And because I helped them pass the first bond in 15 years to really start addressing overcrowding in East Arlington.
Right.
And they said, hey, take it to the next step, serve on the AISD Board of Trustees, run for it, see if you get elected, and then you can have an oversight role that make sure that those funds that we promised the citizens of Arlington, that they were being met, you know, everything that we asked for. I served on the school board for 9 years.
Right.
We were, when I got on it, we were a district that was floundering. We had a model set up that we felt like every student was college bound, and our city is not that way.
Yeah.
We're the 11th most diverse city in America. Do you know that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
we talk about it a lot.
Amazing deal.
Yeah.
So we've got people from every aspects of life, and what we were not doing for our graduates was preparing them for when they the workforce when they got out. You know, we were having kids go in to literally have to accept minimum wage jobs. And during my time frame, I worked with a colleague named Jamie Sullins originally. And Jamie and I went out to TCC, met with President Coppola out there, and we brought a certificate program to Arlington. You know, we it started out with the firefighter academy. You know, we had cosmetology, we had wood shop, but we really didn't have any other trades.
Right.
So we were able to envision the Dan Diapert Center.
Oh, right.
Now there's 40 different certificates that are being offered there, and the kids that are graduating with these certificates. Because last year alone in Texas, 240,000 skilled jobs went unfilled.
Oof.
240,000. And a number of those are right here in the Metroplex, obviously, because we're one of the largest entities, right?
Right.
These companies were coming to us, HAVC, welding, you know, plumbing, masonry, electricians. They're all coming to us and saying, hey, listen, we can't afford to put people on as apprentice. We need people prepared.
Who are ready to go.
So we went working with TCC. These kids, the last 2 years, First of all, we built that school for 2,400 students to go through there. 4,800 students are going through there. Fortunately, we built it where it can be expanded.
Yeah, we've seen that.
But kids go from the entirety of the city to that, and they still can have their home campus. So if they want to root for Sam Houston, Texas, you know. And but the great thing is, and this is true greatness, is that these kids are now coming out $45,000, $50,000, even $60,000 their first year of wages out of high school.
Wow.
I mean, that's awesome,
right?
That's
incredibly awesome.
Yeah,
at the very same time, we put in the early college high school over at TCC Southeast campus. Cohort of 105 kids. 93.5% of these students are economically disadvantaged.
Right.
The majority of them, their parents never graduated high school themselves.
Wow.
These kids from that campus the last 3 years have been graduating at a 88% rate of receiving both their high school degree and their associate's degree or better on the day of graduation from high school.
Wow.
That's so important. And I wish that had been available when I was in high school.
Yeah, right? I mean, and what's really cool about this is that those kids are competing academically at the same level of Highland Park High School.
Man.
How many kids are disadvantaged in Highland Park High School?
No.
Not many.
Yeah, very low.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you know the one area that they at Highland Park actually graded better was in PE.
Okay.
Why?
Because they have private tennis coaches.
They have private tennis coaches. That's awesome because that. But what do you when you go to college and you're doing kinesiology or you're doing sports team management, those type of things? What are you doing? You're learning the theory of sports. That's so our kids at TCC are learning theory, and the kids over maybe at Highland Park were actually playing tennis or they were doing, you know. So it's a matter of what's really relative. You know, they have the opportunity in the high school curriculum getting the what is mandated by the state. But, you know, those were, when I walked away from my 9 years with the school district, those were things that I could go and say, you know what, I felt like I made a difference.
Yeah.
Right.
I felt like I made a difference, and it was all about our community and kids.
Yeah.
Because that's where my heart and passion is.
Right. That's really awesome.
So, you know, what made you decide to run for the city council?
Yeah, good question, because I stepped away for a year. I wanted to make sure that I had a clean head and clean thought pattern of what I was going to do, and I, you know, we had term limits come place into our city, and at this point, there was a number of people that just looked and said, you know what, we've got a vacuum right now, a little bit of institutional knowledge, and we've got to address that.
Yep.
Because on average, it takes a good trustee, council person, mayor, at least 16 to 18 months to be in a position to learn it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough because what people don't understand is there's a lot of state guidelines. You know, they have to understand open meeting laws.
Yeah.
They have to understand budgeting laws. They have to understand, you know, many times people will talk about, well, the AISD just passed a bond for almost $1 billion, but they're asking us for a tax increase this year. Well, why aren't they using that money? Right. Well, one example of having to learn something is that bond dollars can only go
for like infrastructure.
Exactly. And not a single dollar could be spent on salaries. So, you know, when I served on the school board, two areas that gives me a kind of the experience that's needed for a city council spot is both being the chair of the internal audit, where we find out if there's any waste, abuse, or fraud.
Oh, yeah.
And then secondly, chairing the budget committee and the finance committee. And I can bring that to Arlington, and that's what people identified in me, is that I can bring those abilities on November 4th and be able to be active on this council.
Right.
Yeah.
Because what we're going to be facing is a because of COVID-19
huge shortfall
is a huge shortfall.
Uh-huh.
And working with state funding for these 9 years, you've all heard it. The state funding for public education isn't adequate, right?
Right.
We always found a way without cutting teachers.
Right.
I'm committed that we're not going to cut city employees or staff because of these shortfalls. We will find a way. There are ways to be able to find monies in place and address those shortfalls.
Right, exactly.
So that kind of leads into the next question that we wanted to ask, which is, what can your constituents expect from you if you win?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that because that's probably the most pressing issue for anybody here in Arlington. They need to understand why they should vote for me and why it's important. I think that what I can do is there's 3 elements that I bring. One is I bring the experience. I've kind of just talked about that. Second thing is I bring a sense of leadership, and that what we're missing in America right now is statesmen. Or stateswomen is a situation that we don't have people willing to work for compromise.
Right.
It's either my way or the highway in every position. That's how it works, even between the 2 governmental entities here in Arlington. You know, both the school district and the city.
Right.
Those 2 need to be working hand in hand.
Of course.
Yeah.
But we need to do that with the with our council people being able. Why I chose to run at large, because I've always served at large, is I want to make sure that District 1, District 2, District 3, District 4, and District 5 that goes and says, hey, we need to do this for my particular area, understand that we have to serve for the entirety of it. So where it starts, first and foremost, is with our community. We've brought in a lot of big business over the years.
Right.
But have we focused on the community? We need to revitalize our neighborhoods. And the way that I would tell you that we do that is through bringing in small business. Small business has come to me over and over and over again and said, John, we don't like doing business in Arlington because the city is really tough with us on.
Yeah, we've heard that.
So, we need to make it where they're welcome. You know how many street corner buildings that we have vacant here in Arlington?
Oh, yeah, quite a bit.
Them all the time.
Think about this. Imagine this. You've seen what's gone on in Fort Worth on East Magnolia.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Able to see what's happened in South Main. That area, 30 years of dormancy is exploding right now.
Yeah.
And if you look around it, all those neighborhoods are being completely revitalized.
Yeah.
Completely revitalized.
Yeah, their property values have gone up.
Absolutely. We can do that
I think so too.
in every neighborhood. And that's what we need to focus. All these boarded up convenience stores, let's open them up.
Yeah.
Let's get these homes that are corners, corner lots that are pretty beautiful homes that are not being used
as homes.
effectively. Let's bring them in. Architectural firms, boutique shops, restaurants, IT firms, application firms, engineering, law firms, all these things that would employ 20 to 25 people. We've been focused on, we got to have 100 or 100 more people.
But if you multiply that by like 5 times, you've got the same amount of people that they're talking about. So.
You guys know this international corridor right here.
Right.
It is one of the greatest opportunities for us. We've got the Asian community, we've got the African American community, we've got the Hispanic community. I mean, we have so many different cultural things. We could blow away what's in Dallas over in the Bishop Arts District or Deep Ellum.
Yeah.
Or
Trinity
I'm
Groves.
excited
That,
about it.
right.
Yeah.
No, I think the same thing. So, what do you find is the biggest issue facing citizens of Arlington right now?
I'm going to go on that on 2 different fronts.
Okay.
One, I think that Arlington residents want transparency. They want to have a level of trust in their government.
Right.
I believe in all my heart the people that are serving are absolutely good people.
Right.
Okay? But when you feel like something is brought to the voters that hasn't been vetted well, you have to address those issues.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure that people understand it. I've been working the polls this entirety of the week. And when they go and they see me, many are familiar with me, and they said, John, please explain the two propositions. Why are there, first of all, two proposition
Two Prop A's, right.
Yeah.
My wife asked me the same thing.
But they're two governmental entities, different governmental entities.
Right.
But it could have been very easy to say we're Prop 1 for one
right,
entity.
exactly.
But they don't talk. Remember what I just told you? I said it.
Yeah.
The other thing is how are they different? Because people don't generally understand how taxes work.
Right.
Well, for the school district, that property is, that
Property
proposition
taxes.
is a property tax. For the city, that is a sales tax. And the sales tax could be different because it's paid by anybody buying anything in Arlington, right? So if we get somebody from Grand Prairie going to Vandergrift Honda over there, and I'm sorry, that's not meaning a plug, but I'm just saying, they go there and they buy their car there, that's good for Arlington, right?
Yeah.
So explaining those, people were just saying, wow, we didn't know. I mean, and that's what we have to be better at. We have to be very open and very transparent. Right. And when I was in the school district, I always told the superintendent, our communications are critical for the success of our district.
Right.
And he didn't understand that, and I was able to show one of the greatest examples of that ever, is that I needed to get a copy made to show him in the meeting that I was about ready to go into. And the copier was being used by one of the administrative assistants that were copying 500 pages, right? Ooh. So I couldn't interrupt her. So I said, I'll go around the corner to Human Resources. Who is supposed to be the easiest person to get along with, right? And the receptionist there was on the telephone. She was her personal call. And she looked at me and she says, if you sit down there, I'll be with you in a minute. Well, she didn't know I was a trustee. She just assumed that I was in a suit, so I was probably an interviewee. Right. Well, I sat down, even though I had all the credentials to go around and use the printer. The superintendent came and he was looking for me, and he says, John, what are you doing there? And I said, well, I was told to sit here. And he looks at her and he said, do you understand it? And I said, no, we need to stop. Yeah. It doesn't matter who I was.
Right.
If whether I'm a trustee or I'm somebody that's trying to break into Arlington, find a new home with a new career, we treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to go in with, is that we have to treat every person individually with the same respect and the same kindness and the same trust.
That's kind of something that we've heard a little bit from a lot of the candidates that we've talked to, is that they feel that there is, a gatekeeper status here in Arlington. That it's kind of the same people that are being elected over and over. What do you think about that?
That's a great question. I was thinking about that over here. Okay, I shared with you that I had several people come to me and say, hey, we really feel like you're the right person for this. The beauty of the people that came to me is it was as diverse as Arlington is. It really is. It was people that knew me because of my school. They knew me because of my church. They knew me because of my community service. I mean, I've been able to take part in a lot of different aspects, a lot of different charities, a lot of different things. Many years ago, I was given the Girls Inc. Strongman of the Year award for Carroll County, and that was something that if what I was doing, I thought everybody should be doing. Right. So I was blown away when I'm given this type of thing. But to the point that you're saying is it's important that everybody has a voice and that we do raise up leaders. What we've gotten ourselves into is, there was people served way too long on this council. I'm going to tell you that one of the things about me is that if I get elected, they will not see me, and I will give everybody the commitment that I will not live out what the term limits are on the books today.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, is that this election alone, my term is only going to be 18 months.
Yeah.
And I'm not protesting that.
Right.
Because I feel like I can come in and do what I need to in the 18 months, and then I'm going to really step back and have a true look. Do I need to do this again?
Yeah.
One of the issues that I really have with Arlington is we're not rising up the leaders, a diverse group of the leaders. Mm-hmm. What we find is we've got one particular candidate that's run 10 different times,
right,
and then doesn't do anything to move the needle on a position. You know, so if you're going to say you're going to run, let's get serious. Okay? And then we have another one that's run for in 5 different spots, from state legislature to mayor to city council to school board. And you just have to go and say, we shouldn't have people running to run just to serve in a position. And I want to tell you that I feel like a few people that's been elected today has done that very same thing. Mm-hmm. And that's not the best service to Arlington.
Right.
If you're going to come in, have a passion.
Yeah.
Have a direction and a reason to serve.
Yeah.
And when, after 9 years of school board, I looked away and I said, you know what? There's 2 people I was looking at. Justin Champa. Jamie Sullivan stepped away from the school board, and I went and recommended Justin Champa to serve immediately. Why?
I've spoken with Justin.
This guy
seems like a good guy.
Is a rock star.
Yeah.
You know what? He graduated from Sam Houston. He went to Harvard on a scholarship because he did so well. Mm-hmm. He went to Teach America, served as a teacher for, which is equivalent to, a volunteer job because you don't get paid anything for Teach America. And then he went to Stanford for law school. He could have gone to any city in America and established his family. He came back here. Mm-hmm. And he gives back more to this community than anything else. Now, when Justin served on the school board the year that I served with him, we knocked heads more times than not. But you know what? We always came to an agreement.
Right.
And today, if you look at my Facebook page, he put out a personal endorsement to him, or for me, I turned around to him and was able to go back and say, you bring so much more. If you don't have that professionalism to have a dialogue back and forth. Right. So, but David Wilbanks was the second person that was waiting kind of in the wings. It's always been volunteering and saying that he really wanted to serve. And I asked him why. And I challenged him, why? What are you going to bring? And he said, this is what I'm going to bring. And I said, David, I'm going to step down then. You're going to have to win, and you have to convince you're going to have to convince the public why you should win. Mm-hmm. And I stepped down. He went and ended up being running unopposed. Mm-hmm. I always wish that there's a good interchange of having people and ideas, because I think that's better for Arlington. But he ran again unopposed, but it was because people knew his service.
Right.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about this, but, thinking about 10 years from now, what does the city of Arlington look like to you? What do you hope it becomes?
Yeah, especially in these times.
Yeah.
Because take COVID aside. COVID has been a hotbed of frustration for every person that's been housed, right? I mean, it has. It exposed something that we needed to realize, is that we've always thought that the entertainment district made us invincible.
Right.
Because of other economic downturns, we did pretty well.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we realize right now we've got to have small business rocking and rolling in Arlington, because otherwise we're going to be in trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do believe that it gives us that wake-up call.
Yeah.
That we have to go and be a more user-friendly city, invite small business in here, and revitalize our neighborhoods, because we have to have people wanting to be here.
Yeah.
Of course.
The second thing, I mentioned the diversity of our city. With what happened with George Floyd, with the different protests that has gone across America, we need to have not just a kindness initiative. We need to have an initiative that every citizen right here feels like they have a voice, and that they have a buy-in to our sense of our community. You know, if you say that I'm invested in my community, you're proud, and you want to be part of it, right?
Right.
So we've got to give hope to break this chain of generational poverty that we have in pockets all over our city. It was always sad in my heart that budget suites out here on 360.
Yeah.
That one particular group of budget suites, we pick up 89 basically registered homeless children in there, and we would bus 500 homeless children on a given day.
Right.
We need to recognize that with prosperity, you can't hide the poverty here. You've got to break that.
Yeah.
And you, by breaking that generational poverty, by putting people into the Dan Dipert Career Tech program, whether they want to be a culinary artist,
right,
or if they want to just say, doggone it, I'm a pretty good welder.
Yeah.
I hired one of the kids from the Dan Dipert Center that does welding, and I acquired some wrought iron fence. He did my entire fencing around my house.
Wow.
And he and I negotiated a price, and I was thinking I was getting a pretty good deal. You know what I did? I felt so bad because I saw the work he put into it. I doubled his price.
That's good. That's
So,
good.
you know, it's just one of those things. But there you go. Hopefully that answers your question.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we have a segment on our show called the Tournament of Toppings, where we're trying to find the best pizza place in Arlington.
Ooh.
So tell us, what is your favorite pizza place in Arlington?
Okay, my favorite pizza place is first. I've discovered that there's in the Kroger section that there is a thin pizza crust that is right next to where you get your biscuits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roll it out. You put it on your grill.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You toast it both sides with a little bit of cornmeal.
Gotcha.
You bring it back in. Then you put on all your ingredients. Put it back on the grill for 5 minutes. And first of all, you're going to fall in love and say that your pizza is now the best pizza.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
We're sitting right next to Old School,
Right.
right here.
Which we just had lunch at.
for lunch.
And so we got to give them a shout out.
Of course.
They're absolutely awesome. My daughter just got married during the COVID thing in May. You know, it was supposed to be a wedding for 250 people. And unfortunately, you know, we had that down to 14. So it was the two families.
Small and sweet.
But on my driveway, and this is giving a plug to somebody coming in, Cane Russo came in, did their brick oven.
They'll be here soon.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they're going to be opening up next month.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is
Good.
where I'm saying, just right down the street. So I just feel inclined that I have to give them a shout out that since they're coming in, they brought their little Dutch oven down to my driveway and cooked us up some of the best pizza that I've ever eaten. And Brussels sprouts. I mean, so
okay.
anybody that can make Brussels sprouts,
That's right.
good,
Yeah.
So with that, I would tell you that those are two of my favorites.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I think we're all waiting for Connie Rosa.
Yeah, I've had them in Carrollton, and it's an
Fort Worth's
excellent
great.
pizza. Like so good.
Magnolia. I mean, that place is rocking all through this.
Yeah.
This whole time.
Right. So if people want to follow you, support you, donate, and find you on social media or website, where can they do so?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. First of all, I'm all over Facebook. I try to be accessible as positive. I'm a family-friendly guy.
Good.
I don't allow profanity on my site. You know, I don't get engaged with any of the censored sites. I will always meet anybody, anywhere, have a discussion. But if you go johnhibbsforarlington.com, you'll be able to see my website.
There we go.
If you go to John Hibbs Facebook or John Hibbs for City Council Place 6 is my group on Facebook. I don't do Twitter. I probably should come into the 21st century or where we're at.
It's okay. I don't think you're missing too much.
But and then my email site is Hibbs, AISD, because I never changed it, at gmail.com. That's a private email account, and they can also find on my website my cell phone number. They have direct access to it.
Wow.
Be honest with you, I don't need money for this campaign anymore. What I need is people's trust. If they feel like I've got the experience, got the leadership, I've gotten all the major endorsements that the city groups put out, whether it be from our first responders or realtors, those type of things. I've gained their trust, but where it needs to start and where it always needs to finish is with the individual people.
Right.
So if I could ask for their trust and just, hey, give me this 18-month term to prove myself.
Right. And let's talk for a minute about voting. Where can people vote? How long can they vote?
I mean, we talked about that a little bit on the show last week. At least early voting, they can go to the sub courthouse. They can go to LZ Odom, the rec center,
South Service
Center,
Junior League,
TCC, the MAC at
Asia Times.
Yep. Right, yes, I said that last
She did. She did actually.
And I'm going to tell you, these places are rocking.
Yes.
They are.
Yeah,
I waited 30 minutes to vote.
I've driven by at least 3 in a day, and it's gone.
The people that were on Tuesday, waiting 3 hours to vote.
Yeah.
But what everybody needs to understand is if you're a registered voter in Texas, you can vote at any early voting site.
Right.
So if you're in downtown Fort Worth,
yes,
go
you
ahead.
can do it there.
Go vote there.
Right.
That's very true.
Downtown Dallas, same thing.
Yeah.
So there is a huge access of being able to vote, and you're also given an additional week this year.
Yes.
That's one thing I've got to praise the governor
Absolutely,
on. Because,
agreed.
When no matter what affiliation you are, we've extended by 1 full week to give everybody the opportunity. You know what's the most exciting thing is seeing how many first-time voters.
Yes.
I mean, I get excited when I see an 18-year-old at the poll.
Me too.
And I've
been voting for 20 years, and I'm like, oh, cool, great.
I've been telling them all week long, guys, this is your first time, celebrate it.
Yeah.
And what a bigger election to celebrate, right?
Yeah.
I don't care who you're for. This is monumental.
Yes.
Celebrate it, and then don't stop.
Yes.
Because that's where
engaged.
because when we get lethargic is when our country struggles.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank you, sir. We wish you the best of luck.
Well,
and,
thank you. I appreciate
obviously,
it.
we used to hope you come back and talk to us again.
You know what? I would love to come back and talk to you about Arlington Children's Toys.
Oh,
which
yes,
is the
with that
Margarita
girl.
Ball.
Yeah, Margarita Ball.
Really
because that's an awesome thing, and I know your group probably is more in tune to this than anybody else. Levitt, Arlington, best free concert music anywhere in North Texas.
Well, and we talk to them all the time too.
Yeah.
We're great friends with the Levitt people that run the Levitt, and we love what they do.
Well, I'm telling you, I can't talk enough about it because I think that if you want a venue to see great music, they had a hip hop artist there last night.
Yeah.
Final concerts tonight, and they've got kind of a husband-wife team right here from Arlington that's going to do a great show.
I don't get to go all the time, but I only live a little while, so
I
I can go in my backyard
here.
and I can hear it all the time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great. Thank you so much.
And guys, I can't thank you enough for giving me this opportunity. I actually get a good thrill at this.
Good.
I might want to come and join your team if you have an opening.
Hey, come on. Yeah, why not?
Anytime.
You got better connections than we do. So.
Thank you all so much.
Thank
you.
We are here with Ruby Faye Woolridge, she's running for District 6 for Arlington City Council. How are you today?
I am great. Here's my flyer. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, there you are.
All right.
Okay, there I am. I'm running for Arlington City Council District 6, which is at large, and everybody in town can vote for me.
Awesome. So I guess first question, how long have you been in Arlington? How long have you lived here?
My family moved here 36 years ago, 1984.
There we go.
It's about when I moved here.
Yeah.
Yay! It was a good time. Things were really popping in 1984.
You were.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what do you love most about our city?
What I love most about our city is our can-do spirit.
Yeah.
I will never forget when the Rangers were in that old ballpark, and Mayor Richard Green at the time had a vision for what we now call Globe Life Field. And I'm a big Ranger fan. I grew up listening to baseball with my grandfather, so I've been a long time baseball fan. And so Richard Green kept saying, we can build a new stadium. And everybody said, no, it'll cost too much. And so he just kept saying, we can do it. We can do it. So guess what? We did it. Yeah. And I'm excited about the fact that I helped lead one of the campaigns as a part of the larger campaign to get it, because I thought it would be good family entertainment. Mm-hmm. And I got to say this is showing my age truly. My youngest son and I used to go sit out in the W section at the old stadium right by the I-30. And I'd pay $6 for me to get in, $4 for him, and parking was $4.
Yeah.
So that shows you how long I've been a fan. I was a fan when it was cheap, okay? Yeah. Seriously, but I love the spirit. We're bringing in the National Medal of Honor Museum, and my oldest, who gave his life for his service in the Army, he was a Bronze Star Medal winner, and so I'd like for us to honor the military. I really like that.
I believe the same thing.
Well, that's great. So why are you running for city council?
Well, I'm running for city council because I've been here a long time and I've been active in the community, but I don't see just regular citizens on the city council. Maybe we might have one. And I think we need to have regular voices. I'm running on an Arlington for All. And so, it seems like there's a ruling class that kind of picks and chooses who they're going to sit up next, who's got next. And so there were just citizens that I was interacting with when I was on the park board, when I was on the higher education authority, when I was doing work with the city school system. And they were saying, Ruby, why don't you go serve? You do volunteer work all the time. Why don't you go downtown? And I said no 3 times. And then a friend of mine who was more, I guess, influential than I am, convinced me after the 4th try that I needed to go ahead and run for city council this year. He said, you would be good for everybody. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. Service is what I do. I am a child of a public servant. My mom worked for the VA. My dad was in the Navy. And so we love to serve. And I would like to offer my service to the city. I have been given the opportunity to oversee $1.9 billion in student loan funds for the UTA and UNT as a part of my service for the city. I was awarded for that service, and I'd like to be awarded to be your next city councilwoman. I was transparent. I was accountable with that. And so I think I can take those skills downtown. And I also want to say this. I am against raising taxes. Good. So I'm a frugal person, but I'm a person who wants to see us have the best possible quality of life, no matter where you live in the city. I want to make sure we lift our boats. And I hope you give me another minute to brag about this. I just finished serving in 2019 on the park board here in Arlington. And as a part of that service, we just opened up 3 new facilities. We opened up the Lake House out at Lake Arlington. We did that, which is another way to improve people's quality of life. We also last month opened the Beacon, which is at Mansfield Webb Road, and it's a beautiful 21st century facility. And on November 2nd, we're going to open up the East Arlington Rec Center and Library, which is the first library and rec center of its kind in the city. So I'd like to make more of those things happen, build up more parks, strengthen our neighborhoods. I started a neighborhood association because I wanted strong neighborhoods. So I want to do all I can while I can for as many people as I can. Can you tell I'm excited about Arlington?
You are, absolutely, which is great because we are too.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of that gym inside that East Library, and I kind of want to get in there and get sweaty. So
I tell you, it's it's really nice, and the beacon is nice as well.
Yeah.
I'm a member of the Y, but when I saw the beacon, I joined. I'm like, I got to take advantage of this, so I joined that one.
You can do it. Okay. So, what do you find is the biggest issue facing the citizens of Arlington right now?
Well, we've got a tax increase that's looming on the ballot. We've got to decide if we want to give the city, more sales tax money. Mm-hmm. So that's something that has to be decided. And a lot of people are conflicted because they believe they're going to give that money to the entertainment district. So people have really got to study that petition and ask a lot of questions. So that's one issue. The other issue, I know that we don't want to talk about it, but we've got to resolve our traffic congestion in this city. Because it's hard to go from north to south without getting a little bit frustrated, okay? And and so I'd like to see us look and expand the ways that we move people around the city. I was talking with the member of the North Texas Central Government Association, and they're willing to work with us. So we've got to, be willing to open our minds up to new possibilities. And I don't know whether it's Braille, I don't know if it's autonomous, but we've got to find ways to resolve our transportation issue because we've got all these great venues, and our greatest challenge is getting people in and out of them safely. Right. And so I'd like for us to seriously look at that. The other thing that I'm really concerned about is I want us to expand and diversify the economic development that we do. We have invested heavily in entertainment. And so now it's time for us to expand that and bring in some solid jobs that are not affected by the weather, by pandemics. They will just keep paying into our tax base. So I'd like to see us maybe work with the planning department at UTA and look at the engineering program and find out maybe there's companies that they may know about or that they work with that might be willing to relocate here because we've got a great talent pool coming out of UTA. So I'd like for us to seriously look at ways to enhance our posture as the city by expanding our partnership with the university to bring in brand new businesses that will be more solid with higher paying positions. Great. And this is my last thing. Our city is now 39% Anglo, 29% Hispanic, 22% African American, and 10% Asian. And I think we need to be more reflective of that in our city leadership. And if you look at the school board, we've got one diverse person on there. Maybe two if possible. We've got maybe two on city council. That just happened last year. We've got to really be more inclusive in our leadership because our city is really looking like a tale of two cities. So we need to expand our reach in leadership.
I believe the same. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So think about 10 years from now. What does the city look like to you?
In 10 years, I'd like to see Arlington be a Wi-Fi city. I think that that's something we could really do and be cutting edge, but we've got to have a mind to do it and intentional. I'm also believing that in 10 years, we will have some form of transportation at the rate we're going. We're going to have that. I'm concerned, though, that if we don't do something in 10 years, we're going to be more blighted than we are. And East Arlington will look worse than it is unless we turn our attention there and start redeveloping those areas.
Right.
If we redevelop those areas, continue to build our downtown, expand our tax base, we'll be sitting pretty. But we've got to open up the possibilities for those things to happen.
Absolutely. So we got a little fun question here. We have a segment of our show that we call the Tournament of Toppings. We are trying to find the best pizza place in Arlington. Do you have a favorite pizza place in Arlington?
I'm going to be honest with you. My favorite pizza place is Papa John's.
That's okay.
On Park Road.
Okay.
I love that. They have a chicken Alfredo, whatever. I love it. I love it. I love it. At this point, they're my favorite pizza place. But now I got to say this there's a place on Park Road at Cooper. I think it's called, is it Nizza Pizza?
Yeah, Nizza Pizza.
They have it. Okay. That is my most current favorite place because they give you great big slices. I can make a meal for 2 days off of one slice at Nizza Pizza.
They're big.
On Park Road in Cooper. They're big and they're good.
Yeah,
and they make it for me fresh when I go in there, so they kind of spoil me. So those are my two favorite pizza places.
Awesome.
So
And Nizza Pizza is number one.
Yeah. So where can people follow, support, donate, and find you guys on social media, and what would your website be?
Well, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. Matter of fact, we've got several videos out on YouTube and on Facebook. We're also on Facebook. You can go to rubyforarlington.com, real easy. RUBYFOR Arlington.com. That's my website. We're easy to find. They can call 817-500-1088. That's my phone number. I just gave them my personal number.
Wow.
I'm available, I'm accountable, and I want to be transparent for you.
That's
Love
great.
that.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to talking to you even after the election, no matter how it comes out. Obviously, we would like you to win, but you know we're not partial by any means. So
yeah, good luck to you.
Well, it's looking good. Well, I don't know. I'm sure the other guys said the same thing, but the response that our campaign has received from the voters has been very positive. So we're really working hard to keep that momentum going for the next 2 weeks. That's why I'm out here walking neighborhoods so we can drive out some more voters.
Absolutely. That's the key right there.
Keep doing that, and we really appreciate your time, and we will talk to you again soon, I'm sure.
We are here with JJ Fenceroy, running for District 1, Arlington City Council. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. So, how long have you lived in Arlington?
So, I've been here now for about 4 years.
Okay.
The first time I came to Arlington was actually about almost 30 years ago.
Wow.
I had some family that lived here, and I stayed with them for a while my cousin was going to UTA. From there, I was moved. I had just joined the Air Force at that time, so they moved me to San Angelo, which is where I switched my residency to Texas, and remained a Texas resident for my entire Air Force career until I retired, went to Florida, got my MBA, and as soon as that was done, I came right back here to Texas, to Arlington.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Great. So what do you love most about our city?
So, Arlington, when I first moved here, I knew about the things that everybody knows, which was like Cowboy Stadium, the Texas Rangers, Six Flags.
Yeah, Wet and Wild, all that fun stuff. Yeah,
all of those things. But living here, I mean, what I really love about it is the artistic diversity that you see here. And there are so many incredible places here, like places you guys are familiar with, like Truth Vinyl, like Theater Arlington, Legal Draft and Division Brewing, which have some awesome things. And then some of the events here, the local events like the Main Street Arts Festival and Junk Fest. Those are all things where we have just an incredible number of talented artists in the city. And for them to have these venues to kind of showcase and share their talents with the rest of the community, I think it's something that is really special here and something to be proud of.
Right, I think so too.
So what made you decide to run for the city council?
Yeah, I feel like the people of Arlington deserve to have city council representatives that are willing to listen to and serve all of them, and not just a small, wealthy establishment that's been pretty much pushing the agenda in Arlington for years now. So kind of backing up a little bit, our elections were originally supposed to be in May, which is normally when our city council elections are. In the May elections, we generally have well under 10% of the registered voters come out to vote. So that wealthy establishment group that is made up of former city council members and other businessmen who have connections with the people on the city council, they've had an outsized influence in dictating not only who's going to be on the ballot, but helping push them through to get on city council. And as a result, they've had an outsized influence on the issues that come before the city council. I think that's led to some really bad policies, including things like the Proposition A, which is on the ballot right now, which would be a sales tax increase on the residents of Arlington in order to provide subsidies to big businesses here in Arlington. I'm opposed to the idea that was also pushed by the establishment to create a term limits advisory council
right.
that would essentially come up with recommendations to change the term limits that the citizens of Arlington just voted on less than 2 years ago, and nearly 2-1 they voted in favor of that specific policy that was 3 2-year term limits.
Right.
I'm not looking to run and sit on city council for 10, 15, or 20 years. I think each of us should look to serve the public for 2, 4, 6 years and start grooming a younger generation to come in behind us and take Arlington into the future.
Right. So what can your constituents expect from you if you do win?
From me, they can expect a public servant. I've been in public service for most of my adult life, and I will be there to serve them, not to try to control them, not to try to serve any establishment or corporate interests. And they can also expect from me someone who is going to push back against overreaching regulations that are put forward before the council, things that have nothing to do with... So I see the role of city government as being to provide necessary services and to safeguard the health, safety, and well-being of our residents. And beyond that, you start getting into areas where the city starts stepping on people's personal rights, their property rights, and getting in the way of small businesses that are trying to innovate, create jobs, and strengthen the economy. So for me, they will see somebody who will push back whenever we have these types of overreaching or discriminatory policies, such as the one that's currently, it was just in the news last week, that the Department of Housing and Urban Development is suing the city of Arlington over a housing policy that favors senior housing over housing for lower income families and children, which granted, yes, we do need to make sure that we have housing for seniors, but kids and families also need places to live, and we need to be taking care of them too.
Exactly.
So I will be the first one to push back against that, while my opponent, she is pretty much consistently been on the side of each of those policies every step of the way.
Great. What do you find to be the biggest issue facing the citizens of Arlington today?
Yeah, this is a unique time, and I would say at this moment, the most pressing issue that we have going on, and it's visible everywhere you go, is COVID-19, because it's presenting a health crisis, it's presenting an economic crisis, and right now it's presenting an education crisis for our kids as we're trying to get them educated. While I was in the Air Force, I served for a few years as the Chief of Inspections and Exercises at the largest Air Force combat wing overseas. In that position, I planned and executed over a dozen emergency management exercises. I know all about planning and executing plans for emergency management. And what is lacking right now in Arlington is a proactive plan to deal with COVID. My idea for a proactive plan here in Arlington would be to have targeted testing with quick turnaround results instead of waiting 7 to 10 days where people are walking around perhaps asymptomatic and continuing to spread. We're getting results quickly, and consistent contact tracing that's voluntary. I think most people will do the right thing. They want to protect other people, and they will let people know, hey, this is where I think I got COVID. These are the people that were around me. And we can spread the word to them so that they can self-isolate until they can get tested, and hopefully quick turnaround testing so they're not isolating for 2 weeks at a time as long as they get a negative result. By doing things like that, we can target our response and not have to shut down big segments of the economy, but rather focus on the hotspots as we identify those areas where we actually have flare-ups of COVID. I think that will go a long way towards building confidence and not only save lives, but save livelihoods and get our kids back to school.
Yeah, which all three are very, very important things. So thinking about 10 years from now, what does Arlington look like to you in 10 years? What's going on?
Yeah, well, in 10 years, what I would like to see here in Arlington is that we have stepped up to meet our housing needs by having a proactive plan, looking at how our population is changing. Our population has been growing tremendously, and we've had shifting demographics here for a while. And we need to stay ahead of that because the building takes a while. And if we're not ahead of it, we get behind, and suddenly you have critical housing shortages in certain areas. So that's one area that I think I'd really like to see us meet that challenge. Another one is our small business community. I would hope that 10 years from now that we've been able to go back and look at some of our policies with respect to business, remove some of the restrictions that have nothing to do with health, safety, and welfare of the people, and pull those back to give our small businesses the freedom to innovate, to create jobs, and to strengthen the economy. And I think lastly, and probably most importantly, is that 10 years from now we have made significant progress on going back, looking at city policies that in the past have been discriminatory or have stepped on people's personal property rights or just held back businesses, and that have created systemic problems of inequality, particularly in the areas of housing and education and criminal justice. So that's where I'd like to see us in 10 years.
So we have a segment on the show called Terminal Toppings. I know you've been on the show.
Yes. We've talked about before.
What is your favorite pizza place in Arlington?
Yeah, so I think my answer is still pretty much the same as last time.
Okay.
And I realize it is a chain, but I still like Mellow Mushroom, and I'd have to say I'm a big fan of the Mighty Meaty.
Okay, yeah.
They're a meat lovers pizza. But also, if you're not doing pizza there, they also have a really awesome meatball trio.
Oh, yeah, that thing's really good. Yeah, I've had that before.
Meatball trio.
Yeah.
All right. So if people want to support, follow you, donate to your website, where can people do that?
Yeah, my website is at jjforarlington.com. I'm also on Facebook and on Twitter. You can look me up there under JJ for Arlington or JJ Fenceroy, Fenceroy. And on there, they can find my contact information, get in touch with me. I will do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. But anyone who wants to support the campaign would definitely appreciate it. You know, we're down to the last couple of weeks here. Not being the incumbent candidate, I'm having to work a lot harder to get the name recognition and to get the support. But
of course,
we're having an incredible response at the polls. And I just came from working there now and talking to so many people who are like, "Oh, you're JJ." It's awesome to see. And actually, while we're here, I'd like to point out to a lot of people who may not know this, as they're doing research on their ballots, I've met a lot of voters who all they want to know is, are you a Democrat or Republican? They just plan on looking for all the D's or all the R's and checking all the boxes. For our municipal elections here in Arlington, they're nonpartisan, so you're not going to see a D or an R after our names. You'll have to look all the way to the bottom of the ballot, and you'll see, for the people living in District 1, you'll see City Council District 1, JJ Fenceroy. I am the only JJ on the ballot.
There you go.
You won't see a D and an R, but you will see a J and a J. So please vote for JJ.
There you go.
Great. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming out and taking this time. It's good to see you again a year later. You were one of our very first guests. Yeah. So it's great to have you back and see you in this capacity, and we wish you the best.
Thanks a lot. And I appreciate what you guys are doing here. This is awesome that your podcast has grown the way it has, and I'm glad to see that.
We're pretty glad about it, too.
Yeah, we're happy about it. We love it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to our guests this week. We really appreciate all of these city council candidates for coming out to talk to us. We have several more coming up in the next episode. Look out for that. You guys look out for some events that are happening.
Right. November 7th, they're at Catalyst Creative Arts. There's the second annual art market featuring several local artists. You can go to the Catalyst Creative Arts. They're going to have a lot of cool art there. Local artists, you can support them, buy some cool art, buy something for the living room. You got to be in your house all the time anyway. You might as well make it look cool.
Right. Get something for above the bed. That way you got something to look at before you go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, every second Thursday, through the rest of this year, Union Market in Urban Union, being put on by Legal Draft. There was at least 20 to 30 different vendors out there last time. Like I said, who's who of who's on the downtown. So.
Right. That's awesome. And right now at Four Kahunas, they are renting out space 2 hours at a time. So go check out Four Kahunas, some former guests. Amazing cocktails.
Yes. Best in the city.
Best probably in the county, in the state.
I would go as far as to say that as well. And I've had a lot of drinks in a lot of places in this state.
There's a lot.
Yeah, and they're incredible. So thank you so much to our guests. And please remember to
make sure to go out and eat local, drink local, and
go rediscover your city.
Tag us and send those pictures over to us on Facebook, Arlington Citizen Media, Twitter, ATX Citizen Media. Tag us on Instagram, Arlington Citizen Media, and send those pictures the old-fashioned way. Email arlingtoncitizenmedia@gmail.com. Also go to our website, www.arlingtoncitizenmedia.com. Don't forget to subscribe and give those 5-star reviews of the downtown at Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and also hit us on SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and YouTube.